Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8. Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved. Suta Uvacha Atha te samparatanam swanam udakam ichchatam datum sakrishna gangayam puraskritya yayu striyaha. Suta Goswami said, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Gangas with Lord Krishna. The ladies walked in front. To date, it is the custom in the Hindu society to go to the Ganga or to any other sacred river to take bath when death occurs in the family. Each of the family members pours out a pot full of the Ganga's water for the departed souls and walks in a procession. With the ladies in the front, the Pandavas also followed the rule more than 5,000 years ago. Lord Krishna, being a cousin of the Pandavas, is also amongst the family members. Shlok 2. Te निनियोदकं सर्वे विलप्य च भृशं पुनः अप्लुता हरिपादाब्दरजः पूतसरिज्जले. Having laminated over them and sufficiently offered Ganga's water, they bathe in the Ganga, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Shlok 3. तत्रासिनं कुरुपतिं धृतराष्ट्रं सहानुजं गान्धारीं पुत्रशोकार्ता पृथां कृष्णां च माधवा. The king of the Kurus, Maharaja Yudhishthira, along with his younger brothers Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, Draupadi, and also Lord Krishna, all sat overwhelmed with grief. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought between family members, and thus all affected persons were also family members, like Maharaja Yudhishthira and brothers Kunti, Draupadi, Subhadra, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and her daughters-in-law, etc. All the principal dead bodies were in some way or other related with each other, and therefore the family grief was combined. Lord Krishna was also one of them as a cousin of the Pandavas and nephew of Kunti as well as brother of Subhadra. The Lord was therefore equally sympathetic toward all of them, and therefore he began to pacify them befittingly. Shlok 4. Santvayamas munibhir hatabandhuj sucharpitan bhuteshu kalasya gatim darshayan pratikriyam. Lord Shri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected, citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings. The stringent laws of nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be altered by any living entity. The living entities are eternally under the subjugation of the Almighty Lord. The Lord makes all the laws and orders, and these laws and orders are generally called dharma or religion. No one can create any religion's formula. Bona fide religion is to abide by the orders of the Lord. The Lord's orders are clearly declared in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should follow him only or his orders, and that will make all happy both materially and spiritually. As long as we are in the material world, it is our duty to follow the orders of the Lord, and if by the grace of the Lord we are liberated from the clutches of the material world, then in our liberated stage also we can render transcendental loving service unto the Lord. In our material stage, we can neither see ourselves nor the Lord for want of spiritual vision, but when we are liberated from the material affection and are situated in our original spiritual form, we can see both ourselves as well as the Lord face to face. Mukti means to be reinstated in one's original spiritual status after giving up the material conception of life. Therefore, human life is specifically meant for qualifying ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Unfortunately, under the influence of illusory material energy, we accept this spotlight for a few years only as our permanent existence and thus become illusion by possessing so called country, home, land, children, wife, community, wealth, etc., which are false representations created by Maya illusion. And under the temptation of Maya, we fight with one another to protect these false possessions. By cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with all this material paraphernalia. Then at once we become free from material attachment, and this clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place by association of the Lord's devotee who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depth of the bewildered heart and thus make him practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. That is a summary of the pacifying measures for those affected by the reaction of stringent material laws exhibited in the forms of birth, death, old age, and disease, insoluble factors of material existence. The victims of war, namely the family members of the Kurus, were lamenting the problems of death, and the Lord pacified them on the basis of knowledge. श्लोक 5 साधयित्वा जातशत्रोः स्वं राज्यं कितवैहर्तं घातयित्वा सतो राज्ञः कचस्पर्शक्षतायुषः. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, the duration of life being decreased for their having roughly handled the year of Queen Draupadi. In the glorious days of before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, and the old men were properly given protection. The protection of the Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashram, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. The protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, that is milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. The protection of woman maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. The protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadharana Samskara, the beginning of pure life. The protection of the old man gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of these innocent creatures is totally forbidden, because even by insulting them one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the woman becomes unchaste for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varna Karas. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasan, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. Shloka 6 Yach Itvashvam ऐधेतं त्रिभिरुत्तम कल्पकैः तद्यशः पावनं दिक्षु शतमन्योरिवातनोत. Lord Shri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha Yajanas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaja Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. This is something like the preface of the performances of Ashwamedha Yajna by Maharaj Yudhishthira. The comparison of Maharaj Yudhishthira to the King of Heaven is significant. The King of Heaven is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaja Yudhishthira in opulence, yet the fame of Maharaja Yudhishthira was not less. The reason is that Maharaj Yudhishthira was a pure devotee of the Lord, and by his grace only he was on the level of the King of Heaven, even though King Yudhishthira performed only 3 yajnas, whereas the King of Heaven performed hundreds. That is the prerogative of the devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with all the great. The sun rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are dark always. This is not due to the sun but to the receptive power. Similarly, those who are 100% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. Shlok 7 Amantraya Panduputranshcha Shanehe Yudhavasanyutaha Dvaipayanadibhihi Viprehe Pujitehe Pratipujitaha. Lord Shri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. Apparently, Lord Shri Krishna was a Kshatriya and was not worshipable by the Brahmans, but the Brahmanas present there, headed by Srila Vyasadeva, all knew him to be the personality of Godhead, and therefore they worshipped him. But the Lord reciprocated the greetings just to honor the social order that a Kshatriya is obedient to the orders of the Brahmanas. Although Lord Shri Krishna was always offered the respects of the Supreme Lord from all responsible quarters, the Lord never deviated from the customary usage between the 4 orders of society. The Lord purposely observed all these social customs so that others would follow him in the future. Shlok 8 Gantum Krutam Ti Brahman Dwarakam Ratham Astitaha Upalebhe Abhidhavanti Ma Uttaram Bhayavilhalam. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwaraka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. All members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord, and therefore the Lord also protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. Shlok 9. Uttaro Vacha Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Devadeva Jagatpate Na Anyam Tvadbhayam Pasche Yatra Mrityuhu Parasparam. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of the mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. This material world is the world of duality in contrast with the oneness of the absolute realm. The world of duality is composed of matter and spirit, whereas the absolute world is complete spirit without any tinge of the material qualities. In the dual world, everyone is falsely trying to become the master of the world, whereas in the absolute world, the Lord is the absolute Lord and all others are his absolute servitors. In the world of duality, everyone is envious of all others, and death is inevitable due to the dual existence of matter and spirit. The Lord is the only shelter of fearlessness for the surrendered soul. No one can save himself from the cruel hands of death in the material world without having surrendered himself at the lotus feet of the Lord. Shlok 10. Abhidravati Mamesha Sharastapta Payaso Vibho Kamam Dahatu Manatha Mame Garbho Nipatyatam. O my Lord, you are all powerful. A fairy iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. This incident took place after the death of Abhimanyu, the husband of Uttara. As the widow of Abhimanyu, she should have followed the path of her husband, but because she was pregnant and Maharaja Parikshit, a great devotee of the Lord, was lying in embryo, she was responsible for his protection. The mother of a child has a great responsibility in giving all protection to the child, and therefore she was not ashamed to express this frankly before Lord Krishna. Uttara was the daughter of a great king, the wife of a great hero, and student of a great devotee, and later she was the mother of a good king also. She was fortunate in every respect. Shlok 11. Suta Uvacha Upadharya Vachastasya Bhagwan Bhakta Vatsalaha Apandavam Idam Kartu Droner Raktam Buddhyata. Suta Goswami said, Lord Shri Krishna, who is always very much affectionate to his devotees, having patiently heard her verse, could at once understand that Ashwathama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. The Lord is impartial in every respect, but still he is inclined towards his devotees because there is a great necessity of this for everyone's well-being. The Pandava family is a family of devotees, and therefore the Lord wanted them to rule the world. That was the reason that he vanquished the rule of the company of Duryodhana and established the rule of Maharaja Yudhishthir. Therefore, he wanted to protect Maharaja Parikshit also, who was lying in embryo. He did not like the idea that the world should be without the Pandavas, the ideal family of devotees. Shlok 12. Taryo Vath Munishreshta Pandavaha Paschasayakan Atmano Bhimukhan Diptan Alakashatrayana Upadyuhu. O foremost amongst the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunakya, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. The Brahmastra are finer than the nuclear weapons. Ashwathama discharged the Brahmastra simply to kill the Pandavas, namely the 5 brothers headed by Maharaja Yudhishthira and their only grandson, lying within the womb of Uttara. Therefore, the Brahmastra, more effective and finer than the atomic weapons, was not as blind as the atomic bombs. When the atomic bombs are discharged, they do not discriminate between the target and others. Mainly, the atomic bombs do harm to the innocent because there is no control. The Brahmastra is not like that. It marks out the target and proceeds accordingly without harming the innocent. Shlok 13. Vyasanam viksha tata eshaman anya vishayatmanam sudarshanena swastrena swanam raksham vyadhat vibhuhaha. The Almighty Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloying devotees who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan disk in order to protect them. The Brahmastra, or the supreme weapon released by Ashwathama, was something similar to the nuclear weapon but with more radiation and heat. This Brahmastra is the product of a more subtle science, being the product of a finer sound or mantra recorded in the Vedas. Another advantage of this weapon is that it is not blind like the nuclear weapon because it can be directed only to the target and nothing else. Ashwathama released the weapon just to finish all the male members of Pandu's family. Therefore, in one sense, it was more dangerous than the atomic bombs because it could penetrate even the most protected place and would never miss the target. Knowing all this, Lord Shri Krishna took up at once his personal weapon to protect his devotees who did not know anyone other than Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has clearly promised that his devotees are never to be vanquished, and he behaves according to the quality or degrees of the devotional service by the devotees. Here, the word Ananya Vishayatamanam is significant. The Pandavas were 100% dependent on the protection of the Lord, although they were all great warriors themselves. But the Lord neglects even the greatest warrior and also vanquishes them in no time. When the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashwathama, he took up the weapon even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still, according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon, but the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as the Bhaktavatsala, or the lover of his devotee, and thus he preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsala than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his soulman vow. Shlok 14. Anantahastaha sarvabhutanatmaha yogeshwaro harihi swamayaya vranodharva vairagyaha kurutan tave. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma, as such just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty. He covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism can simultaneously reside within everyone's heart, even within the atoms, by his Paramatma feature. His plenary portion. Therefore, from within the body of Uttara, he covered the embryo to save Maharaja Parikshit and protect the progeny of Maharaja Kuru, in which King Pandu was also a descendant. Both the sons of Dhritarashtra and those of Pandu all belonged to the same dynasty of Maharaja Kuru. Therefore, both of them were generally known as Kurus, but particularly when there was differences between the two brothers' families, the sons of Dhritarashtra were known as Kurus, while the sons of Pandu were known as Pandavas. Since the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra were all killed in the battle of Kurukshetra, the last son of the dynasty is thus designated as the son of the Kurus. Shlok 15. Yadyapyastram brahmashirastvatmogham च अप्रतिक्रियं वैष्णवं तेज असाध्य समशाम्यत भृगुत्वद्वहा. O Shaunakya, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna, it was neutralized and foiled. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Brahma Jyoti, or the glowing effulgence transcendental, is resting on Lord Sri Krishna. In other words, the glowing effulgence known as Brahma Tejas is nothing but the rays of the Lord, just as the sun rays are rays of the sun rays. So this Brahma weapon also, although materially irresistible, could not surpass the supreme strength of the Lord. The weapon called Brahmastra, released by Ashwatthama, was neutralized and foiled by Lord Sri Krishna by his own energy. That is to say, he did not wait for any other's help because he is absolute.